Hello and welcome back to the Cricket Draft Show. My name is Dan Jadzevics. I'm joined by Dan Weston. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Drop us a like on the video. And again, we want to hear from you. We want to hear from how your team's going. We want to hear from your signings. We want to hear from the people that have failed. We want to hear the success stories. We want to hear whatever you want to share with us. But Dan, we're through another game week. We've another one in the books. We've got another one coming up pretty quickly. But how are you?
Yeah, well, health-wise, okay, apart from the fact that I've had a bad cold all week, which is why, obviously, my voice is a little bit different to normal circumstances. But apart from that, I'm good. Interesting game week where I set my alarm for 10:45 in the morning, as usual, before the 11 o'clock start. And then literally, the moment the alarm went off, I got a work call, and I forgot to change my team. However, all three of my replacement players off the bench got over the 75-point cusp from a penalty transfer, and Ben Green got 133, so that wasn't too bad. And I ended up with an above-average week, but still not spectacular, but probably about as good as I could have hoped for.
Yeah, a good bad one, Dan, I think is probably what they'd call it, wouldn't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, massive thanks again to Neon Cricket for sponsoring this episode of the Cricket Draft. If you do want to stand out from the crowd, then jump on their website. The link can be found in the description of this video, and check out their amazing bat range and loads of other great kit. Dan, you've already just given us a little look back at your game week 11. It just felt like a bit of a nearly week for me. I didn't have Ray and Ahmed, which obviously kind of put a significant gap between myself and anybody else, but I actually went backwards. I was inside the top 1,000 point scorers for the week, and I went backwards from 61st to 68th in the game overall, which I realise some people might say, well, get your small violin out, Dan, it doesn't really matter, but it just didn't really quite work for me, and I don't really know why, because I feel like I had some good options there, but then I left Ian Holland and on the bench. Kai Smith, who started brilliantly, scored a hatful of points this week, so he was on the bench as well. And as I say, was just nearly there. And there's another week, I just can't get the batters right, Dan. I cannot get batters right in this game. Everybody else seems fine, but the top three, I'm really struggling this season.
Yeah, well, my batters contributed very little as well, so I'm with you, mate, 100%. Guinness got 0, Yates got 18, and I don't understand why, but I had Kai Smith on the bench like you, 244 points, and he didn't get substituted in as a batter, which I wasn't really sure of the rules. So I had to take the 39 from James Drury as the wicket-keeping points. So between all the batters, it really was quite a mediocre thing for me as well. And I guess like that what you were saying about your position going down, even though you're in the top 1,000, is a bit of a statistical quirk where I guess a lot of the top players had the better performing players of this game week, like Ray and Ahmed.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about him in a little bit, but I did see a few people had given him the captain's armband, and I was quite shocked to see 1,400 points to their name when I looked through some of the teams. But having a look back to game week 11, Somerset, I mean, they didn't want to be drawn, did they, in another round of Kookaburra cricket? They prepared a pitch that looked a little bit like the outfield, and it nipped around a bit, which is great. I mean, Craig Overton took 6 for 23. I did see Graham Onion's post-match kind of conference or chat, whatever you want to call it, interview at the end of the game from Durham's perspective. Didn't have any issues with it whatsoever. Fair for both sides, I suppose. What else happened? 2 games followed, dominated with the bat, Yorkshire and Surrey. That was a big draw, wasn't it? And then there was some real kind of last session, last innings type kind of victories at the end. I know Northants came out on a pretty comprehensive defeat to Middlesex there as well, and then Hampshire and Notts just never really got going, did it? But what did you make of the rounds? I mean, is the Kookaburra thing working for you? I know we've got another week left of it.
Not at all.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, it's if you doing it in the traditional sense, it's been extremely turgid. I think it would be fair to say paint drying would be another one. I'm surprised anyone pays to watch it. The Hampshire Notts game in particular, was nothing really to note there, and I would much rather watch 2 days of the Somerset game than 4 days of Hampshire Notts, put it that way. And I think maybe this is now some counties taking matters into their own hands and trying to produce results rather than these bore draws where no team really ever has a decent chance of winning.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I think it's done what it set out to do. It's highlighted the problems that I think everybody knew that were there. But I don't think the counties or the players have particularly got the tools in order to kind of unlock that puzzle and be successful with it. So yeah, I'm not. And who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with the long-term side of it? But Ray and Ahmed enjoyed it. 13 wickets and 141 runs against Derbyshire in that fixture between Leicestershire and Derbyshire. 708 points. Do you know, I'm quite surprised with the success that he's had this year, that you and I haven't spoken about him much. And then also, neither of us have picked him, I don't think. I don't think I've had him in my championship team this year.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I know Ray well from my time at Leicester. Interesting to see that the last 3 game weeks prior to this week that he played, he's got over 100 points every time as well. But the start of the season was tough for him. He even got minus points in game week. Is it 4? Yeah, 4. Yeah, my eyesight's not so good. And then didn't play in game week 10 as well. So you can understand why teams didn't pick him. What we've seen this season is a massive improvement with the bat, which I knew he was very, very capable of. Like, this is something that I know he works really, really hard on. It's something that he wants to make a big element of his game. And secondly, also, he hadn't bowled that much really until this week. So you can understand why people were a little bit reticent to pick him in terms of that all-round contribution. If you looked at his contributions over the season in terms of match involvement, you'd say it would probably be lower than like, so, Ryan Higgins or Ian Holland, or the all-rounders that everyone seems to like to stack in their team, and rightly so. And yeah, you can understand it, but hat tip to the astute people who got him in their team ahead of game week 11.
Absolutely. We'll talk more about those all-rounders in just a moment. We spoke a little bit about form, didn't we, and about chasing losses with players. After that performance, 708 points for Ray and Ahmed.
Yeah.
Travels, plays Kent in game week 12. Is he a player that you look to bring in for the next game week, or do you look at it in a way from your analytical perspective and think, well, the odds that repeats itself are going to be lower, or do you go with it because he's in form?
I wouldn't bring him in because of the 700 points and in terms of expecting that to continue exactly like extremely high points. But is the game at Kent and Canterbury? Because if it is, then I probably would consider to play him, because you've got probably quite a flat pitch there, where he would get runs against a team which is low in confidence and doesn't have a great track record of playing spin. So actually, I probably would consider that at Canterbury, where we good run scoring potential and maybe a lot of spin bowled as well. So yeah, quite potentially.
And another spinner as well, Tom Hartley. Imagine the double captain googly you could have played with Ray and Ahmed and Tom Hartley this week. 618 points down at Cheltenham as part of that festival against Gloucestershire. 100 wickets to his name as well. What a fantastic performance. The other thing as well that we've not really spoken about is Lewis Rees took 11 wickets for Derbyshire in that fixture against Leicestershire.
Coming back from injury as well, Lewis Rees as well. So what a reintroduction to first team cricket for him. Tom Hartley is another player that I know as well, and again, someone who works hard at the game and actually could probably be considered an all rounder in this game. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, all rounders. Spoke about them, but actually, before we go on to that, I think what was quite nice and refreshing was the fact that Seamers actually had some success this time around. It wasn't just purely spin to win, was it, for cricket draft players and counties across that game week 11 with the Kookaburra in hand. You mentioned Higgins, you mentioned Dawson, you mentioned Barnard. They are the stalwarts. They're the long-term legends of the cricket draft. But is it time to start looking at the next batch, the next generation? George Hill, Ray and Ahmed, Ethan Brooks, James Cole, Saif Zaib, who is now the leading point scorer in the cricket draft for the 2025 County Championship. Who there would be the closest kind of perfect all round pick for your cricket draft 11?
Well, I think I've had George Hill in my squad for a while. Obviously, didn't play this week, which was a blow. But yeah, he's definitely someone that I'm non-stop picking unless he's not fit to play. I think Rayan, if he's bowling output stays as high as it has been in the last week, then yeah, you would definitely think about him. Ethan Brooks has been fantastic, and it really looked like he had a point to prove against his old team at Warwickshire this week. James Cole's another player I rate really highly. Is he a batting all-rounder more at the moment? And it would probably, for me, my choice of picking James Cole's would be whether Sussex go with another spinner. So in terms of that match involvement, and it's probably the same for Safe Save. You know, they've had Calvin Harrison, they've had Chahal. Actually, you know, how many spin overs is he going to bowl? But he's been fantastic this season, and yeah, delighted for Safe. So another player that I know, and someone who's desperate to succeed and works really, really hard at their game. So, yeah, fair play to him, and he looks by far the most dangerous batter for Northants right now.
Certainly does. How about your player of the week or player pick from game week 11? Good or bad? Who stood out for you?
There wasn't much good. I'm gonna go with George Hill just because he didn't play. And it shows you how much you need to make sure that you don't ignore your alarm at 10:45 in the morning, and make sure that you change your team. And I didn't do that, and I got punished for it.
Comes back and gets you, doesn't it?
Always.
So I went Liam for Liam, Dan. I brought in Liam Patterson-White for Liam Dawson.
Yep.
Captained him as well. With the form that he'd been in, he returned 314 points with the captain's armband in a game that went the distance with a lot of runs being scored and not many wickets being taken. I think he bowled 50 plus overs, I think, in the innings against Hampshire. Just didn't quite get the return that I was hoping for. I'll stick with him. I will stick with him because he's a nice kind of cheaper option with a high match involvement, as to use a Dan Westernism. Is that right? Yeah, Westernism. Definitely stick with him, but yeah, wasn't quite what I was expecting from Liam Patterson-White this week, but hope that he goes again next week. We'll have a look at the leaderboards overall, Dan. I know this doesn't impact either of you and I, but the top 10, we have a new leader at the top of the table for the cricket draft, and that is Ben Sanders with the Yorkshire Puddings. Picked up 2,740 points and is the only player and first player to have gone through that 20,000 point mark for the season, 20,320. Just behind, about 400 points behind Andrew Douglas in second place, dropping down from the lead, and then 2,451 points for Tom Partis with Your Tawanda I Want. Is that? I feel like that's a safe thing to say out loud, but it's one of those things that you think and you go, is that right? Anyway, there's the top 3 for you. The top 10 is very close. If you are in that top 10, you've got a lot to play for over the next couple of weeks. Dream team from game week 11, are any of these players coming into your team for game week 12? If you'd have picked this team, Dan, you'd have scored 4,411 points in the game week, which is 500 more than the highest, or the previous highest, which was in game week 10, which was another Kookaburra round. But it's Ben Charlesworth, Kai Smith, Kieran Carlson, Rayan Ahmed, Ethan Brooks, Lyndon James, Lewis Rees, Lewis Hill, Tom Hartley, Chris Green, and Matt Parkinson to round out that 11. That, I mean, what a team that would have been.
Yeah, 10 of those players with good batting contributions as well, including 2 bowlers, Tom Hartley, Chris Green, possibly both who are miscategorised. Certainly Chris Green, I mean, as a bowler, it's gone under my radar. I've not seen that, and that would be a definite consideration for me moving forward. Matt Parkinson, probably the only sole bowler. You definitely wouldn't look at him as much of a batting involvement player, but he did open the batting a few weeks ago. But I think that was a circumstance and not a tactical decision.
Yeah, absolutely. How about some things you might have missed from game week 12? Leicester's first innings, their total 398 all out. 3 of their batters scored hundreds. 7 of them scored 15 between them. 14 bowlers were used in the Leicestershire versus Derbyshire game. 24 of the 39 wickets were taken by 2 of them. The Somerset game, that lasted just 157.1 overs. And Jack Leach and Archie Vaughan opened the bowling in the second innings and took 10 wickets, followed by Drissel and Parkinson opening the bowling for Durham and taking the 5 wickets to full. That's interesting, isn't it? We mentioned Craig Overton took 6 for 23. Then both counties opened the bowling with spinners on a green top in the second innings. You wouldn't have thought that would be the way that went on face value, would you?
It really actually quite confused me. Obviously, I didn't really spend much time watching the game or anything like that. But yeah, it was a bit bizarre about how a green top can be so seam dominated up front and then turn into spinner's paradise. It was really quite bizarre, really. But Leicester, did you know, Dan? I don't know if this is a record, but in a completed innings, it's got to be close. 96, just over 96% of Leicester's runs scored with a bat were scored by Rayan Ahmed, Lewis Hill, and Peter Hanscom. Between them, less than 4% from all of the other batters.
That is a mad stat, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is a mad stat. Either Dan, you have access to a website here that provides you with this information, or you're kind of not spending your holiday the way that you should be spending it.
100%.
Definitely one of those two.
Yeah, 100%. Quick maths. So in the comments in the chat, if anyone could find a game where in a completed innings 3 batters scored more than 96% of the team's runs scored with a bat, you let me know.
It's another load of lower order hundreds scored this week. Linda James scored a double hundred at number 7. Chris Green 160 at number 8. Tom Hartley 130 at number 10. The cricket draft big hitters went missing in game week 11. Hill, Harrison, no Proctor as well, didn't make it in the starting 11s. Sibley and Safe Saib both went past 1,000 runs for the year. Safe Saib, the first Northamptonshire cricketer to do that since 2016. And as I said earlier today, Safe Saib is now 7 points clear of Kyle Abbott at the top of the table with 1,891 points. Whew. Look ahead to game week 12. It's the last Kookaburra round. Thank God, Dan, it's the last Kookaburra round.
Yeah, I doubt.
Bit of weather about, maybe. Keep an eye on the forecast. Keep an eye on your alarms at 10:45 in the morning. Seamers did well in game week 11. Does that have any impact on your thought process? I think I asked you this last week with regards to the weather forecast. You did mention about maybe seamers, cheap batting options. Has game week 11 changed your view on anything for game week 12?
I think it'll be quite weather oriented for me in terms of whether I look at that spin pace balance in my team. Probably trying to make sure that I don't have a bias towards one or the other, and maybe hedge my bets a little bit in terms of that. But I've managed to do that anyway in my team, so that's fine. But yeah, if the weather's bad, I'm probably going pace heavy.
Yeah, I think probably a lot of people would do that, and I think maybe the performance surprised a few from game week 11 as well. We don't think, but we're not sure. We don't think there's any other new overseas cricketers available for game week 12. The only one that could come into a side would be Imam ul Haq, who was announced by Yorkshire last week and then didn't play in game week 11. So that could be an option for Yorkshire to come into the 11 for game week 12. What happened with the Kookaburra rounds? Immensely high scoring, as you would expect. Individual performances. Is this the right time to use a double captain, a 12th player googly? Have you got any left? I haven't.
I haven't either. So yeah, right, it's an academic conversation for us, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, if there's rain around, I'd be quite cautious about using a googly actually, because obviously there's going to be less match involvement for players. Unless a team gets absolutely ripped through it with the ball or something like that. But yeah, it's always a tough one to work out when to play that googly. I nailed it in the blast. I haven't really nailed it so far in the championship.
Yeah, I don't think mine were anything to really write home about either. 11 of the top 16 players are all-rounders. Those that offer a bit with the ball, but as batters, the likes of Kimber, Lawrence, Denley, Charlesworth, they're there or thereabouts. Could they be top of the list for your teams in game week 12? Personally, maybe Dan Lawrence. I don't think I'd look much further than that, but I don't know, Dan, whether you've got anybody that's caught your eye looking ahead to game week 12.
Well, I think it depends on almost like a competition for overs perspective, really. So, like Lawrence now that Surrey have got Syker Shaw, I would imagine his workload with the ball is going to be reduced. We saw that with Safe Zabe, and now they've got Chahal as well. Or Calvin Harrison. It kind of constrains their match involvement. I had that with Rob Yates as well. Now they've got Corey in their team. He's not bowling much either. So, yeah, you've got to really look at the sort of push-pull factors for these players and whether they're likely to get a lot of opportunity with the ball. But there's certainly some good options there in terms of batters who bowl or bowlers who bat, who maybe are or aren't miscategorised, but can contribute in multiple facets of the game.
Yeah, how about some cheaper options as well? Kai Smith, Asa Tribe, Freddie McCann, Noah Cornwell, Ben Kellaway, Ethan Brooks, Zen Malik. Yeah. Are they serious options? I think they are. I think they're massive serious options to bring into your 11 and then spend your budget somewhere else on some of the players that we're about to talk to with the ones that are coming in and out of the side. But I think we've both got Kai Smith, I think, in the 11s. I've been desperate to try and get Ben Kellaway in. I just haven't been able to do so, which I'm not really quite sure why I've not been able to do so in hindsight.
Yeah, I'm in that position where like I've got the nucleus of my team week in week out, but can only make slight adjustments if I remember to actually listen to my alarm. But yeah, any of those players, I would say, great budget enablers for team owners moving forward, and then that allows you to pick the big dogs, the expensive players in your team who have got a lot of proven quality. The likes of Harmer and Kyle Abbott and Ryan Higgins and stuff. The goats of the cricket draft over the years. So yeah, that it's a great element of the game, isn't it? With 18 counties and for 16 players in each squad, roughly, you've got a lot of options and a lot of differentials and a lot of budget enablers, players who are really good but fly under the radar.
You do indeed. Players coming in and out this week for game week 12. Rayan Ahmed, unsurprisingly, the most signed player so far. Kane Williamson, Safe Zabe, Jack Leach and Ben Kellaway make that top 5 of players being signed. Those going out, Liam Dawson, Calvin Harrison, George Hill, Andy Gorvin and Luke Proctor making their way out of people's 11s. Have you got names, Dan, yet? Or are you waiting to see what happens? I mean, for me, I'm in a bit of I'm very spin heavy at the moment. That I think is something that I might need to address. I've got Chris Green, Simon Harmer and Corey, our mate Corey from Warwickshire. Then I'm reluctant to do it because I know there's the quality there and I know they're going to come back and bite me. But Luke Wells, Wayne Madsen, James Bracey are my 3 batters. And it feels like I'm not getting triple points from them on the majority. They feel like they could be the ones that are making their way out the team for me.
Yeah, so for me, I'm looking at maybe a batter change, maybe a spinner change. I had Farhan Ahmed came into my team this week as an auto transfer, if you like, and I really like Farhan Ahmed, but I think I might go pacer instead, or even to look at someone like a Chris Green who's maybe miscategorised as a bowler, and then if we're going to have a spinner, that will be my spin option, and then just bolster the stocks of all rounders.
Sounds like a good plan. Thank you so much for watching us through the course of this episode. Watching or listening, whichever you prefer to do. Been great to chat with you, Dan, as usual. Make sure you are following the Cricket Draft across all of the socials, whether that's X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Drop us a subscribe on here, a subscription. It's free to do so. It helps us out massively. Keep up to date with all the injury news, availability news, and new signings. Plus, if you haven't noticed on the app, the One Day Cup game is now live. You can start selecting and building your squads for the upcoming competition in August. Plus, And Dan, you might be able to give a little bit more information on this before we go, but if you buy the Cricket Drafted coffee through the link in the description of this video, you'll not only be supporting us, the Cricket Draft itself, future games, but you'll also get data and insights from Dan Weston.
Well, what a great introduction, Dan. I've spent a bit of time doing this, and it's going to be pretty useful for players in the One Day Cup. Hopefully, I've had a look at 100 players who are available, players from 100 who are last year who were playing, missed the ODC, and now are available for teams. So some under the radar picks without a track record in terms of point scoring, but should be some of the better players in the game. You know, guys like Daniel Bell-Drummond and Ollie Robinson and Alex Davies, Adam Lyth, these type of players who could potentially be big point scorers in the One Day Cup. Then I had a look at the top point scorers from last year, and how actually only Saif Saib in the out of the top point scorers from last season is picked in the 100. So we've got some really consistent point scorers available for owners. Then I had a really good look at match involvement in terms of both per game and overall, and a lot of analysis on hidden value and miscategorized players as well. So I do feel that it's a really interesting document that you can spend half an hour on, or an hour on, or a lot more if you want to build a spreadsheet from it as well. And yeah, check it out. It's something that we've spent a lot of time on, and hopefully you enjoy it.
There we go. Buy us a coffee. You can get hold of it. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.